Welcome back to 2% Football Camp. I'm Eduardo, Sicilia,
And today we will talk about cover 3, determine the defensive players' assignments, and how to beat them. Just like the cover 2, the cover 3 is a strictly zone-based cover. In the regular cover 3, we will have, as we know, 3 defenders covering and dividing the deep part of the field. This will leave us with 4 short or intermediate zones. First, our strong safety will come down and help by taking the flat area right here. The outside linebacker on the opposing side will do the same, while the 2 linebackers left will divide the hook zones between themselves. And on the back end, we will have our 2 cornerbacks plus the free safety taking a deep third of the field. Just like with any other coverage, the cover 3 has different variations. The first one is the cover 3 boss. On this one, pretty much what's gonna happen is that the strong safety and the outside linebacker on the side he's gonna help in will exchange duties. Now the strong safety will be the one taking the hook, while the outside linebacker will be taking the flat. The rest of the defense stays the same. As a second variation, we have the cover 3 cloud. This one once again is just an exchange in duties for the strong safety. In this case, with one of the cornerbacks. The corner will take the flat, while he takes what would be the corner's deep third. This variation is normally used in long yardage situations and when we want to disrupt a great receiver's timing. This is pretty much a creative way of doing a bracket. A bracket, in other words, would be a double coverage, but of course, without compromising their zones. And for the last variation, we will talk about the cover 3 showcased by the Seahawks on their dominant run from 2014 to 2017 when the Legion of Boom dominated. Here the zones are pretty much identical as the original cover 3. However, they ask the strong safety and the outside linebacker who are covering the flats to turn those zones into deeper zones. Why is this the case? Well, because they will also ask their corners to play press coverage while shading the outside shoulder of the outside receiver. Their purpose is to force the receiver to go inside while still taking care of their deep third. But what makes this special is the personnel that the Seahawks deploy. They normally have tall, rangy, and strong corners, which would allow them to disrupt the receiver's route, and they would provide them a margin for error by assisting them with the deeper zones by the flat defenders. Now, obviously, having a free safety as fast and as aware as Earl Thomas helped corners like Richard Sherman, since they knew he would make up for some of their mistakes in case that would be needed. Just like with any other zone coverage, in the cover 3, the defensive player's assignment is the one of covering whoever enters their zone. Now, the 2 players with the biggest adjustments are the flat defenders. These have 3 read keys. First of all, if 2 routes attack their zone, they will put their emphasis on the closest one to the quarterback. For example, here, he would prioritize the inside hitch, since the ball would take longer to get to the outside receiver. Their second read key relies on emphasizing on the deeper routes if they are getting attacked by 2 routes simultaneously. In this case, for example, they would prioritize the deep out, and if the quarterback would throw the quick arrow, he would just come down and make the tackle. And for his last read key, no matter if the formation is a balanced one or an unbalanced one, in the case of every receiver on that side doing vertical routes, he would follow the inside receiver in case of having 2 receivers on his side, or the middle receiver in case of having 3 on his side. Just like in cover 2, if this would happen, the linebacker on that side would be responsible for any short routes. This general adjustment is normally known as cover 3 match by some coaches. There are 5 essential points of attack to beat a cover 3. Number 1, even though it's an easier cover to determine due to the characteristic placement of the defenders, we gotta make sure through clues from the pre-snap look of the defense and the post-snap look of the defense that we are actually facing this type of cover. Number 2, like with any other zone coverage, we get attack its weak points. In the case of the cover 3, these ones are found on the outside part of the flat zones due to how backed away the cornerbacks are normally, and the spaces between the deep thirds. Number 3, manipulation. Without getting too much into detail, the cover 3 has some man principles. This means that we will have situations where we're gonna have a one-on-one between our wide receiver and whoever is covering him. Through different concepts and formations, we can actually create a one-on-one matchup with a specific cornerback. In the same way, we can create an advantageous matchup for us between a linebacker and a running back. This in the case of the defense using a cover 3 match adjustment like we talked before. And finally, we have a middle safety. This means that he's pretty much gonna be reacting with our eyes as a quarterback. We have to know how to manipulate him. With our eyes and shoulders, we can make him move wherever we want, which can help us create a space for whichever receiver we want on the other side. Number 4, gotta create conflict. Like always, we gotta put the defenders in positions that they're not comfortable in. Attack their zone with 2 routes and make them guess. For example, a pretty used concept against cover 3 that doesn't use the match adjustment is 4 verticals. Obviously, the outside routes will be covered by the cornerbacks, but we have both teams attacking the same safety. We can manipulate him with our eyes to one of the options, and whenever he decides to attack one of these 2 routes, we'll simply take the other one. Conflict. And number 5, tendencies. Like always, we gotta study their tendencies. This one can allow us to create big plays in big moments. These ones we can determine through our study of previous games or by building up a play during the game. Defenders are smart, so if you show them something constantly throughout the game, you can eventually predict how they're gonna react to that situation and counter that with a big play. That's it for today. Don't forget to subscribe. Once again, I'm Eduardo Sicilia, and this was 2% Football Camp.